baby. I think we're live. Let me see. Let me see if I can see it. Oh, shit. I feel better today. That's for sure. I felt like doo-doo yesterday. I feel good today. Can I see it? Can I hear it? Can I see it? Can I hear it? I think it's just a picture right now. Let me see if I can see my face. There we go. Let's see here. Transition that bitch. Hello? Hello? Transition that bitch. Yeah, bitch, I can hear myself. All right. Yeah. What's up, Kobe? Big Kobe in the house. Yeah, man. You like right on point. What's up? What's up, my dude? Let's see here. What's... I can spell. What's good, my dude? What's good, my guy? Alright. So, I wanted to do this flight this morning, but I had job shit I had to do. I have a new job I'm starting, so I had to do some shit today. So we gonna fly this here 737 American bird from San Pedro, Honduras, through the Gulf of Mexico, over Cuba, over southwestern Florida, and put it right in Miami. So it should go off pretty smooth. I would like to hope so. I do have live weather on, but I do have the time set for the time that it took off from this morning. It took off about 6:50 this morning, so we got about a half an hour until then. I do have the ATC turned off because they're a pain in the ass, and we don't really need them right now. So I just oh, who's texting me? Why is it like I always get messages right when I'm starting to do this shit? Hang on 1 second. Greg thought you would like this. Talked about how you should make your own taco seasoning. Stores is full of sodium, yeah, and it has silica in it, yeah, I know. Little packet in, yeah, I know it's the same shit that's the new shoes. Greg thought you would like this. All right, let me just send this message back, and then we'll get back to the regularly scheduled programming. Hang on 1 second. I'll give it a look. I plan on making tacos in a couple of days, so if we can eliminate silica, that would be a good thing. Period. Thank you for always thinking of us. All right, so let's click menu and hold it in. There we go. And I'm pretty sure this plane's already set up for everything that oh, it's not set up for how I like it. We got some shit we got to do. There's no heads-up display. It's got the old, nav system, and it's only got 2 buttons under the MFD. So yeah, we got a little bit of stuff we got to set up. Damn. I thought American Airlines. I thought that I was good with this airlines, but I guess not. All right, let's go under setup. So we got cold, dark, GPU. That's a good thing. What is a mile in USA? Well, a mile's a mile. You mean like how many kilometers is it? I think like 1 mile is like 0.75 kilometers. I think. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can find out real quick. Hang on. Mile to. I can't believe I got to reset this airplane up. I guess. That might make sense since I had to 1.6 kilometers is equal to 1 mile. So let me put that up in here. 1.6 km is equal to 1. All right. Damn, that shit does look pretty good, man. Golly. Yes, it does. LOL. That pizza looks delicious. I don't get any messages like most of the day, and then all of a sudden, like now that I'm going live, I get messages like from all kinds of people trying trying to stop me from flying this airplane. All right, so let me go under equipment. All right, I got to reset this airplane up. I don't think so. I had to reinstall the simulator here like a month ago, and I don't think I've flown this livery since then, which is why I need to do all this over again. So, because all these settings store to the livery. So, all right, fail pass. All right, it only takes a couple of minutes to do all this, so it'll be fairly quick. All right, minimums. Okay, E-tops, dual battery. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Heads up display. Yaw dampener gauge. All right, performance improvement package. Cutoff switch is old. That can be fine. 2 cabin classes. That's fine. Yoke checklist is fine. So we have all these settings. These settings store to the livery that you choose. So every livery that you would choose from Pmdg, you have to go in and set this up for every livery. All right, auto ignition, no. Pressurization panel, we'll do new. And we'll install the Wi-Fi antenna and these nav radio panels. So we have classic, which is like, you know, what you've seen for years, where you tune it in with this knob and then you push this button to switch them over. Well, actually down here, you would do it. I like the newer version because it tells you if it's an ILS or a VOR when you're typing it in. So we have this newer version, which is right here. And as we're typing it in, it'll tell us if it's an ILS or a VOR. So, all right, so this part is done. Let's go to displays. And okay, this is all okay. I do want to show you one thing from that last section I was in. All right, let's do kilograms instead of pounds. And okay, oh, that's good. Okay, so this last one we were in here, this Autoland fail OP. So that gives us, you'll know if it's fail OP if you have these 3 buttons here, right? So I don't really know what the fail OP stands for, but I do know that when it says fail OP and you have these 3 buttons, then it'll now do a category 3 landing, which means that not only will the plane land itself, it will roll out and flare on its own. All right, let's see here. So, all right, failures should be turned on. Yeah, random service-based failures, that's turned on. All right, and
to work on end of marking period grades. Out of an abundance of caution with what are expected to be adverse road conditions in the morning, and to protect that negotiated teacher work time, students will engage in real-time, synchronous, virtual instruction with their teachers tomorrow. Schools will begin instruction at 9 or 9:15 a.m. as listed on schedules that can be found at www.aacps.org/student schedules. Students must log in and participate in classes to be counted present. There will be no after-school activities, including athletics, tomorrow, and evening high school classes will also be held virtually. Teachers and other school-based staff who wish to travel to their buildings in order to perform work may do so and should make those arrangements with their supervisor. With the exception of certain Unit 3 personnel,
All right, I think that means schools are closed again tomorrow for the kids, man. These kids got it so easy nowadays, man. All right, so we got our heads-up display. We got our new systems here. All right, so we are good to go. Let's go ahead and let's save this. All right, save, panel state save. Let's call this AAL for American Airlines. All right, now next time we jump into an American Airlines plane, we are all set up. All right, let's get our all right, so let's go up to actions and let's go ahead. I think we're going to get the fuel trucks and all that bullshit out here today. So let's put in a third fuel because we're going to add more fuel here momentarily. Let's go to payload. Let's set the payload to empty. Let's return. Oh yeah, I did the Delta flight. What's today? Tuesday? It's either, I don't know, it's Saturday night or Sunday, I think it was. Yeah, I did that thing. I flew from oh man, from Atlanta to somewhere. I don't remember where I flew to. I don't I don't remember actually. That's funny. I think it was Atlanta to Fort Myers, Florida, I think it was. But yeah, I flew that flight the other day. I think the dude requested it on Friday, and I think I did it on Saturday. So yeah, it's in my history. All right, let's come up here to the battery, and let's flip this sucker on, and let's put the ground power on, and let's come up here to the anti-collision lights, put them on. Yeah, it's all good. You're here now. That's what matters, right? Yeah, man, I think it was Saturday night. I think that's when I did it. All right, so let's come back down here to the screen and let's go to ground services. We're not going to use the jetway tonight since we're so far away from the jetway. We're just going to use these stairs. So, all right, so it's showing that we got 7,000 pounds of fuel roughly. We need 8480. So let's type in 8480. Let's click on that. Let's request the fuel truck. We have, according to SimBrief, got 139 people on board tonight, or this morning. Let's click on 139. Let's click target. Let's request the passenger bus. And we can actually click start, but the bus will be arriving momentarily. And we have 3.5 kilograms. Nah, dude, I'm still setting up the airplane. I haven't even turned the engines on yet. All right, so we have 3.5 kilograms of cargo, so we'll do 1,000 kilograms in the front. And let's click these first 4 buttons to request all the gear that we need, and we're going to do 2,500 kilograms in the rear. Once these loaders get here, this will turn green. We can click start. Fuel truck is here. We can click start there. No, I'm not. They're putting fuel in the airplane. I shouldn't be losing fuel. They're adding to it right now. It might have looked like it when I first turned everything on because it was calculating how much fuel I need. All right, so here's the loaders. There's our bus, pretending to let the people in. Let's line up, actually, let's turn on the fasten seatbelt side since we got people here. And let's align the IRS system. So let's come here and turn this on heading STS. Come here and put this on nav and put this one on nav. And let's come down yonder. And let's click on FMC. And click the clear button. Click on position initialization. Click on the next screen here. Click on the button next to either one of these two. Either one is fine. Go back to previous page and now put this in this line right here. And now we're good. So once we do that, we can go up to route and we can at least plug in our 2 airports. Well, actually, we can plug in our 3 airports if we have 3. So our first is MHLM. That's where we're at now. And we're going to KMIA. So KMIA. The flight number in real life that flew this route early this morning was AAL 1660. So AAL 1660. All right, let's come over here because, yep, we can click start here and we can click start here. Now everything is loading. Once everything is done loading, we can then. You can use the big iPad.
Well, I thought you were doing the thingy.
No. No, just let me close this out and I'll use the other, my tablet.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should be sorry. How dare you come talk to me? How dare you come talk to me?
I'm sorry, yeah.
Here. Let me get you the pen. Yeah, I know, I got you. Hold on. Oh, you bitch. Ah! Don't explode on me.
Oh, school's canceled tomorrow.
It is. Yeah! They want you to do school from home, but you're not set up for that yet, so. Yeah. So, but no, I just got the phone call. Yeah, so you're good for tomorrow. No school for you again. See ya, bye. Bye. That was my daughter. My daughter, she's all happy because they don't have school again tomorrow because we had some snow here in Maryland. Anyway, let me get the, she wanted to borrow the iPad, so let me get my tablet out so I can pull up the flight plan on Navigraph charts. All right, let's come here. Is my Wi-Fi turned on? Yep, Wi-Fi is turned on. Let me go to charts. I think I remember the flight, but you know, it's always easier if I have it sitting here in front of me. Oh yeah, this is an old flight plan. Good Lord. Spokane, Washington to Billings, Logan. All right, here we go. Yeah, once all the workers out here are done loading and fueling and letting people on, we can then transfer all that data into our flight management system automatically. So, all right, let's go back to SimBrief here. Very good. Okay. All right, let's get back inside this vehicle. So they're doing that. Let's go ahead and do our flight plan. So first thing we're going to do is click on departure. Let's click on the top left button here for departure. Now, when you do standard instrument departures, you're supposed to click on the runway first and then the departure. It's like the reverse of how you do a landing. So we're going to do runway 4. And we are doing this GABX 1. And let's go to route. And let's go to next page. And from GABX, we are picking up this highway here. It's a pretty simple flight plan tonight. It's just take off, pick up this highway in the air, this airway, and then do the arrival, and then, we land. All right, UL, and then IKBIX, IKBIX. So IKBI. When you're doing flight plans in any kind of Boeing aircraft, you always have to put a waypoint here on the right-hand side. This left-hand side will either be like, you see like this standard instrument departure, or you'd have a highway here in the air, like an airway, or it would say direct. But you can't put an actual waypoint on the left side. It's got to be like, the right side is always the waypoint. The left side is like how you're getting to the waypoint, like what are you doing to get there. So, all right, so that's that, and now we just need to enter our approach. So let's go to arrival. We are doing Sandberg 3. So let's go to the next page. All right. Well, they got Sandberg 1. That's fine, but let's see. Do they have our? We're doing 26 left. So that's probably this one here. Got ICBIX. That's our transition, and ILS. Are we doing ILS or RNAV? I know we're doing RNAV-Z. All right, RNAV-Z. RNAV-Z 26 left. All right, very good. And I don't think we're doing either Tubbs or Zilby. Let me see here. Well, I guess we could do Tubbs. I mean, I guess we could do Zilby. Yeah, we could do Zilby, I guess. That's fine. All right. Let's go back to route. Let's activate this whole thing. Let's click execute. And now we're going to go to legs. And we're going to get rid of any vectors or discontinuities or anything of that nature. So I know there's a vector in there because I saw it a minute ago. Yeah, see this vector here? How was it? The sauce was okay? Good. Yeah, I doctored the shit out of that thing, man. You should have seen what I was doing to that thing. I was doing all kinds of witchcraft and spices. Anyways. Glad you liked it. Alright, so in order to get rid of it, so we can leave this vector here, but it's not going to show up. Our map's never going to be complete. Like, well, here, let me show you what I'm talking about. So, we'll never have a complete flight plan because of it. Let's go up to map here. Let's put it on flight plan. All right. And let's see here. Let's go, let's click on legs again. And let's use this bottom right button here for steps. So let's go steps. Huh? Yeah. All right, so there's ICBIX, Peaky, Pamper. Here's our arrival. So here's, so it just went right to Zilby. So vector, usually what that means is that the air traffic controllers will tell you, they'll call you by your, your flight name, and they'll say fly, on a heading of 50 degrees, for such and such miles, or or until we tell you to turn. So I'm going to get rid of this vector. More than likely, it's going to connect Zilby to the previous waypoint. But by the time we get here, we're going to kind of be flying in heading mode anyways. And I do need to eliminate a couple of waypoints. So we need to get rid of winter. And we need to get rid of... Hang on, let me look at the map here. Yeah, we need to get rid of winter. Reelin we can leave, but we do need to get rid of this one here because we're not going to use that. So the best way to clean all this up is just click the button to the left of Zilby, and then click on the button to the left of vector. See, that cleans that up. We can click execute. Now click on the button next to Zilby again, your previous page, and now click on the button next to winter, and now that gets rid of winter. So now Reelin and FIFA, Reelin and then Zilby are now connected. So if we go to steps here, we can see we have Reelin, and then it wants to take us all the way to Zilby. So by then we're going to be flying in heading mode, and we're just going to fly out past Zilby and then make this U-turn like it did in real life. That's kind of what it looked like when I looked at FlightAware today. It looked like it kind of did something like that, where it went out to the ocean east and then it made this big U-turn. So that's what we're going to do. Once we bring everything into this page, we'll set the correct cruising altitude. If I do it now, it's just going to change again once I bring in all the info from here. So, all right, baggage handling is done. We can release all these vehicles. All right, everybody's on board. We can release the passenger bus and the stairs. And we can release the fuel truck as well. We'll leave the ground power on momentarily. We will disconnect that in a few minutes when we start up the APU. Let's go to doors. Doors should be closed. Yep, all right. So let's go ahead and bring in our, actually real quick, let's set our forecast for our descent real quick, and then we'll bring everything in and start at the APU. You know, we could probably actually start at the APU now, to be honest with you. Let's start at the APU now. That way it's nice and warmed up for us. So let's come here. We'll turn on this fuel pump here. Let's come down here and turn the APU on. And let's go ahead and just turn on this bleed here. Now this APU, this needle's going to go all the way up and back down to about here. And then once that happens, you'll see a blue light starting to show up here. And then we can flip on the generators. But we can, once we get the APU generator, you know, running, then we can disconnect the ground power. All right, so we have 31,000 feet. And then once the doors are closed, like we have now, it'll actually show you the, you know, the APU info on the screen here. If you were to keep the doors open, then it's not going to show you anything. But let's input this info here. And 20,000 feet. And 10,000 feet. All right, let's see here, 264 and 50. And we got 240 and 39. I just now saw your comment, Kobe, about still losing fuel. I'd have to go back and watch the replay. I don't see how I'd be losing fuel if I'm not using anything for fuel. Like I wasn't, like nothing was running that would be burning fuel, and they were actually adding fuel to the airplane. So I'll have to go back and watch this later in the night and see what I can figure out. If you're connected to a server where you can get, you know, the wind forecast tied in, you can click on this button and it would bring the wind forecast in. Unfortunately, I don't have anything like that with Xbox. All right, so let's go back to the initialization reference page. Let's click on perform initialization request. It's going to bring in all the info from what we just did with setting up the airplane, you know, with all the baggages and fuel and people and all that. All right, message just showed up here, so now we can click load. Click execute. And we will turn on, actually the APU should be good now. Yep, so once we connect these generator switches, that should disconnect the ground power automatically. All right, so now we are running on APU power. And while this thing is warming up, let's put in our, so we have 36,000 feet as our initial altitude, and then we're going to go up to 38,000 feet. But let's put in 36,000 for now. Yep, unable 280 knots at Pampered. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Thanks for being a negative Nancy. FMC. You're always so negative, man. Dang. I can't do this. I can't do that. All right, let's see here. Our cruise wind is 262.47. We do need to put in the correct cruising altitude, so let's go up to cruise, and we're going to put in flight level 360. Let's click execute. Let's go back to initialization. Our cost index for tonight is 15. And the planned amount of fuel that we're using for tonight is 82.53. So let's put in 8.3. All right, so all that is done. Let's go look at our legs and see what the hell this thing is talking about. All right, let's look at our arrival and see what it says for Pamper at 280 knots, over 23,000 feet is what it says for Pamper. All right, 256, so let's just do 256. At FL 210. There we go. Now that should get rid of that error message. All right. So let's go now to our next page. Oops, not that page. N1 limit. And we're going to put in 30 degrees over that. So let's put in 57. And we're going to do takeoff 1. We can do climb 1. That's fine. Let's go to takeoff. Now I do want to put in our runway information. So the slope for this particular runway is negative 0.06. So negative 0.06. Whoa, what the hell happened? 0.06. Yep. All right, and the runway wind for the METAR right now in this part of the world is 60 degrees at 5 knots. So let's do 60 and 5. Now we can go back to the previous page. Now the METAR in San Pedro right now is 2989, so let's plug that in. We're just about ready to back up. All right, 2989. Now let's come down here. Let's put our center of gravity in. Let's do flaps 5. All right, that looks okay. What about flaps 10? Is that anything different, really? Not really. Trim is 3.41, and the trim for this is 4.54. Yeah, let's do that. All right. All right, we'll leave that on. So let's set our Q speeds here. All right, very good. So we are pretty much ready to go. We got everything set, cruise, climb, our routes planned, our legs are all good. So let's go ahead and turn on our lights here, and then we're going to back up, and then we're going to get out of here. Let's turn this one down a little bit. Let's turn that up a couple of clicks. You a couple of clicks. Let's turn on these panel lights. Do 1 or 2 clicks there. GigaChad needs a little loving too, so let's turn up GigaChad's lights. And let's go ahead and clean up this mess up here. Let's put on the yaw dampener. Let's go ahead and put on the arm the emergency lights. Let's turn on the panel lights. come up here to window heaters. Let's turn those on. Turn on the probe heat. Turn on the electric hydraulic system. And that is pretty much, we're pretty much good at this point. Let's go ahead and back up. I guess we can put our flight director on. Let's put our flight director on. And let's get rid of these VORs. And I'm going to put this back on map. And GigaChad, I'm going to put on plan. And we're going to deactivate his VORs. And one thing we are going to do on both sides is click on this data button here, because that now gives us all the info for each waypoint that we're going to go to. Info like if we need to be at a certain altitude or a certain speed, that's now going to show up on our flight plan. I'm sorry, it's going to show up now on our MFD down here on our map. So let's get the, let's make sure our parking brake is on. Let's go ahead and come here to pushback. Let's remove the chocks. Let's select our tug. And we need to go runway 4, I believe, is that way. Yep. So I think we need to go turning the nose to the left, I want to say. Yeah, let's try that.
Cockpit ground.
Go ahead.
We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our right.
Ready to push. Tail to the right.
I think this is correct. We'll find out pretty quickly. It backs up a good amount before it turns, by the way. Alright, while this thing is doing that, let's go ahead. Do we have fuel in the center tank? Just a touch. So we'll leave the center tank off for now. Let's put on those pumps. Let's go ahead and get one of the engines fired up here. Wait for N2 to really start cranking, and then we'll put the fuel on. Let's come down here, put the fuel on. Alright, good, we got it correct. I don't see a chart for our departure. Be nice if we had one, but I don't.
Pushback complete. Parker, please.
Okay, parking brake is back on.
Brake set.
Oh, here's a chart for our departure.
Alright, steering pin is disconnected. Watch for the slip and release from guidance on your left. Have a good flight.
Well, thank you. Alright, so now that he's gone, we can now bring up our FMS page here. So let's go here, and let's go to takeoff, because once we put the flaps down, we're going to have to reconfirm these numbers here. So let's start up engine number 1. Once N2 starts getting cranking, then we'll go ahead and turn on the fuel down here as well. We can also turn on our transponder system here. Let's turn that on TARA. There's no weather system in, well, I mean, there is a weather system here, but it doesn't work. So we don't have to worry about that. The trim, we don't need to worry about that. It doesn't really allow us to change it. So now, I'm looking at our takeoff chart. We really have no constraints at all with this takeoff. Transition altitude is 19,000 feet. I mean, we can plug in the VOR. It's 113. I think it's 113.9. I don't, there's really not much of a purpose to it, but we can at least plug that in. Well, it's already plugged in, so 113.9. And we can turn it on here on VOR1. And we can turn it on this side too. And as far as like altitudes, like, I mean, I guess we can put in 25,000. Yo, what's up, inbound? What's good, my dude? Usually I don't go up to 25,000 like on the dial this quickly, but we have no constraints, so we might as well just plug in what it says on our, on our system here. So, all right, we got both engines on. Let's go ahead and put on both generators. So, generator 1, generator 2. Let's put you on continuous. And now we can go ahead and put the isolation valve on auto. Put both packs on auto as well. You can hear the air flowing now. Let's turn off the APU bleed, and let's turn off the APU. Let's go ahead and put our logo light on, our wheel well light, our taxi light, and let's put our flaps down to 5, and then we'll get out of here. But you see, now that we moved our flaps, you see how it says verify takeoff speeds, right? So you just need to click on one of them. Unless they change, then you gotta obviously change it. And our V2 speed is 145, so I usually do 15 knots over that. So let's put in 160 here. And yeah, man, let's release the park and brake, and let's go to runway 4. We'll put the heads-up display down. We'll get up in the air, and we'll do this here flight to Miami. All right, let's release the park and brake, and let's get rolling. Once we get closer to, when we're in the air and we're closer to Miami, we'll activate the ATC at that point, maybe. I don't really know if I see a reason for it tonight, unless we decide to go taxi at the gate. We'll see. That little jet, I think that's a Cessna Longitude right there. That's the only jet that I know of in this game that looks like that. Alright, I'm having some issues with steering. Give me 1 second. Usually that's because I need to do this. Let's go to Pmdg setup. Let's go to aircraft. I'm sorry. Let's go to options. Simulation. Let's go to previous page, and we need to do that and then that again. And now we should be good. For some reason, that's kind of what you need to do. Everything else is turned on, right? Yeah, all the hydraulic pumps are on. Yep. All right, let's go ahead and release the park and brake again. Yeah, see, now it's turning. Even though I already had that option chosen, I need to do it again for some reason. think this is a pretty easy airport to take off and land in, being that it's only one runway. Yo, why are you not turning again? Jesus Christ. Yeah, they just made Resident Evil 2 available on Xbox Game Pass, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that I've never played Resident Evil 2. Actually, I don't think I've played any Resident Evil games, to be honest with you. But I just started playing Resident Evil 2 last night when they released it. It's the remake. Man, I don't know why I waited so long to play that game. That game is crazy, man. I like that game. That game is fun. I'm very familiar with zombie games, you know, Dead Island, and Dying Light 1 and 2, and The Last of Us, and, you know, I mean, I've played a lot of zombie games in my time, but this one, man, this one's different. That's for sure, man. This one is different. I like it. It's a fun game to play, that's for sure. Yes, sir. Sir. My juice. Oh man. Be such an awesome day tomorrow if I win the Mega Millions tonight. That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. I almost won the Mega Millions, or was it the Powerball? It was one of those two I almost won like 2 months ago. I've been playing the same 6 numbers for, I guess, about 3 years now. And 2 months ago, 4 of my 6 numbers came out. And I was really excited. I won $200, which is awesome. If I only had the other 2 numbers, I would have won like $190-some million. And then right now, I wouldn't be playing this thing on PC. I probably have a whole simulator built around me, like with all the switches and the buttons and shit. I've seen guys that have had their houses set up like that, where they got like a whole like room dedicated, or a whole shed, and they turned the whole thing into like a huge cockpit. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and put our landing lights on. Let's put our strobe lights on. Set our landing altitude to 50. That's pretty close to that, and let's go ahead and put that up to there and turn on traffic. And I think that's about it. We got our auto brake on RTO for takeoff. We got our flaps, they're good. Let me check the METAR one more time. METAR here is still 2989. That's what we got plugged in. All right, very good. Let's put on the RMD auto throttle and get ready VNAV and LNAV. And the heading for this particular runway is 41 degrees. So let's plug in 41, and then we'll be ready to roll. Okay, yep. Now we are ready. Let's go ahead and remove the parking brake. And let's go line up. We'll line up, put the engines on a little bit, and then click our toga screw, and then Before you know it, we'll be at 37,000 feet, 36,000 feet, looking down on the ocean until we pass over Cuba. Yeah, boy. Let's let the flight attendants know we're getting ready to take off. Alright, let's give it just a little bit more juice. See how the engines do. And then we're going to click on this screw right here, and that puts us in toga mode. Now we are good, my friends. Alright, we can rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Let's get over 1,500 feet, and then we'll engage the autopilot. Alright, we can put our flaps up. At least one set of flaps. Put our next set of flaps up. Alright, let's engage our autopilot. We're in LNAV and VNAV, very good. Let's go ahead and deactivate the auto brake. Let's lock our gear for flight. Let's zoom out a little bit. And let's put our last set of flaps up. And flaps are in transit. And flaps are up. Very good. Okay. So we are all set for our climb now. We will change our altitude as we get a little closer. I guess we can put him on traffic as well. We are good to go. We'll turn off our lights here momentarily. We don't have that long over land. We're getting ready to hit the ocean here pretty soon. There's the ocean right there, I think, actually. we're going to be over the ocean until we get to, I believe it's Cuba, actually. We get to a little island before Cuba. Oh, that's part of Cuba anyways, yeah. Yeah, so Cuba's the first land we hit, and then we're going to go over southwestern Florida, you know, like down by Homestead and the Everglades and all that. Right, we can actually turn off all of our, let's just turn off the lights we don't need. Let's go ahead and turn the wheel well light off, and we can turn the logo light off. And, yep, everything else looks fine. Now I saw two different, well, maybe not. I saw two different altitudes in our flight plan. I'll have to look at that again. One of them said 36,000, and then when we got to a certain waypoint, it wanted us to go up to 38,000. So, all right, let's put this away. Yeah, let me see what our flight plan said here. So at 36,000 feet, right, and then when we get to Farco, we need to be at 38,000 feet by Farco. Okay. We can always increase our altitude. Let's get up to 37,000 feet first. Yeah, Rickett, Manila, Dutton, and then we got to go up from Dutton. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. We'll increase it. All right, let's plug in 36,000 feet. And let's put our map out some more. So it's saying by the time we get to Gavix, we should be at the top of our climb. That works for me. Our transition altitude in this part of the world is 19,000 feet. Golly, I can hear my son screaming at somebody online. Jesus Christ. He's always yelling at somebody. He's always yelling at somebody online, man. If somebody's not doing something the way that he wants it done, he's like, rabble, rabble, rabble. It's crazy, man. Rabble, rabble, rabble. Yeah, I'm excited, man. There's this new job that I'm hopefully going to get. It's very similar to the one I just had. I made it past the first round of interviews today. I got my second round of interviews tomorrow. Very excited about that. All right, let's see what time it says right now. 7:22. All right, that's fine. Yeah, this plane took off pretty close to that time today. And we got December of last year. All right, very good. Damn, man, fucking yelling his face off. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Jesus Christ, gets so into it. All right, let's go to progress. this green arc here is the navigation system telling us, I think we're going to be at your 36,000 feet by the time we get to this green arc. So now this is in yellow now because 18,000 is the programmed transition altitude we have, but it's 19,000 feet where we are right now. So we can click on standard now, so we can click on this standard button here, and that puts us at standard. And the way I have the cabin programmed is that it changes every system at the same time. So everything now is standard. It's smaller display, and then the pilot side and the GigaChad side. And there's a fair amount of bad weather over Florida. At least there was a little bit ago, so I'm hoping everything will be fine by the time we get there. I can always turn off live weather, but I do enjoy flying with live weather on, so. I do like it. Yeah, it's cold down here today. Jesus Christ. It is so, like, frigid and raw outside my house right now, man. The older I get, like, the less tolerance I have for cold weather, man. When I was when I was finishing up high school, and like the first, I guess, like 3, maybe 4 years after high school, my friends and I, we would always go up to Killington, Vermont, like every year and go skiing. We go up there for like a week and a half at a time. And I'm telling you, man, like back then, man, shit, I could be outside in 0-degree weather with just shorts and a t-shirt on, sometimes no shirt. I'd be perfectly fine, man. Nowadays, shit, like I gotta be all kinds of bundled up now when I go outside, man. It's crazy, like just how your tolerance for certain things changes as time goes on, man. Those are some fun trips, man. I made a lot of good memories when I was back then. I didn't think it was like making memories, you know, you're just having fun with your friends, you know. But now that I look back on it, you know, like 20 years, you know, 25 years later, reflecting on it, man, those are some good times. Some good times. Yeah, man. Yeah, I would do. I didn't make that many mistakes in life where I'd want to do a lot of things over again. There's a couple things I would like to do over again, but a lot of my life I had no regrets. I did what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. I have a couple of very big major regrets that I can never go back and change. But if I could go back and change a couple of things, I certainly would change 2 things for sure. But there's no way to do that. There's no time machine I can jump into and change up a couple of things. Now we will increase our simulator speed here once we get up to our cruising altitude. I will put us in 8x speed just for a brief while. It's not that long of a flight today. It's only like 2 hours in the air, or an hour and 45 minutes in the air, so it's not too long of a flight. But I want to start flying these, there's like 4 liveries that I typically use with the 737. It's usually this, Delta, Southwest, and then, you know, usually it's like Malaysia or ANA, you know, sometimes Lufthansa, but usually it's ANA or Malaysia, sometimes Virgin or Qantas. But I want to start using them enough to where I start getting failures. Like I think it would be pretty cool to have a failure at some point. I mean, I say that now and watch me like get an engine blown out while I'm over the ocean with nowhere to go. But I think I have a I think I have a document stored. I'd have to look in one of my folders online, but I think I have a document from Pmdg that like goes over how to you know, overcome certain issues while you're flying. All right, let's go ahead and we can, I guess, deactivate the belts. I'd like to thank everybody for flying American Airlines today. We are currently at 27,000 feet on our way up to 36,000 feet over the beautiful Gulf of Mexico. The flight attendants will be around momentarily to serve drinks and snacks to you. We will be serving alcohol on this particular trip today. If you would like an alcoholic beverage, please let your flight attendant know. And once again, thank you again for flying American Airlines. This is your pilot, Greg, signing off for now. I'm going to sit here and watch Giga Chad put all kinds of gel in his hair, even though he doesn't think I'm looking at him, but I see him. And yeah, he's a tool. That's for sure. Greg out. I wish they would put more co-pilots in the airplane. I think there's only one or two airplanes that I have where there's actually like a co-pilot that shows up. Oh, spare bulbs. Is this open? Nope. It sure doesn't. Alright, so we're good until we get to Dutan, and then once we get to Dutan, which is on this next page here, by the time we get to Farco, it wants us to be at 38,000 feet. So I'm thinking there's a change in the airway. So a lot of times when you're flying on an airway and you have to adjust your altitude, it's because that particular part of the airway has an altitude requirement. You know, every airway around the world has an altitude requirement. You either need to be above this altitude or below this altitude. And I believe that at that point where we need to go up, I believe that's because the airway changes its altitude requirements. So we'll change to 38,000 feet when we get there. Yeah, until then, it's just a pretty long flight over the ocean. We have a good chunk of, yeah, I mean, we have a good 200 and close to 300 miles, 350 miles over ocean. I have ways of shortening that up, though. Don't you worry about that. We will shorten up our ocean trip. Now that island off to our right there, that is, if I'm correct, that is Rotan, Honduras, and Guanaja, Honduras as well. I might be saying Guanaja wrong, but La Laguna is the name of the airport that's over there. Guanaja, I think Guanaja is correct, but I might be wrong. At least that's what it looks like. Guanaja. Guanaja. They have a couple of islands off the coast of Honduras. And that's really it until we get to Cuba. No Jamaica, no Cayman Islands today. We'll pass over them again another day. Alright, so saying we have 33 nautical miles until we get to the top of our climb. Not much else to do right now. That's UTC time. Change it to, that's our local time there, so we're 6 hours behind UTC time. We can go into 8x mode right now, actually. We can click this here, and now we're in 8x speed. So the reason one of the main reasons I started using a mouse with flying was because Pmdg, this particular feature, I cannot do with a controller for some reason. I don't know why, but I like this feature because when we get close to a waypoint, it slows down automatically. It's pretty cool. Like when we get, now I turned it off, but the speed feature, but when we get to a waypoint, when we're about a half a mile before a waypoint or before a turn, the sim speed will slow down to regular speed. It'll complete the turn or get past the waypoint, and then once you're about a mile past all that, then it goes ahead back up to 8x or whatever speed you have programmed. I have it set for 8x. You can go up to 16 times speed, but Pmdg kind of recommends against that. They say you can, that you may develop some issues with the plane actually flying correctly, like it may fall out of the sky, or autopilot may kick off, or you might not be able to render everything quick enough. So I found that staying in this mode, kind of like right around here, is like the best for me, because when I'm outside the airplane at such an increased speed that it stops going fast at that point, because it can't render, like the Xbox Series S cannot render the scenery so quickly. Alright, so let's go ahead back into 8x. So we can tell it's in the sim rate increase because it has this, we're in this green numbering right here. We might just stay in this speed mode for just for a few minutes here. Let's go over here to progress. So we have 472 miles to the top of descent. See, I don't really know if it's, let me look at the highway that they have here. Let me actually unload this whole flight, and let me look at the IFR high map, and let me look at this particular highway in the sky here, because where's U471? Here we go. So U471, let's see what it says at Pavel, where it wants us to increase our speed. Come on, man. I'm clicking on it, bitch. Why aren't you opening? Boy, I miss having the iPad with me, because the iPad would be no issue at all. The iPad would just go right to it. There we go. Yeah, minimum. No, it says maximum 24.5. Now that is interesting. Alright, Dutka is where it wants us to go up. And this has... okay, so that's unlimited until we get to Paddle, and then once we get to Paddle, it says we have... That is interesting. Alright, Newton is minimum, yep, maximum is unlimited. And that's very interesting. Huh. Alright. So there is no requirement to go higher. So where does our flight plan want us to go up again? Let me see here. So at Farco, we need to be at 38,000 feet. Alright, well, let's just stay in 8X for now. I like to stay in 8X until we get to our next waypoint and then, you know, take us out of it for a few minutes. This is the longest stretch we have between two waypoints without, you know, it's a 240-mile stretch on this airway. Yeah, let me click altitude hold actually. Take us out of VNAV. Sometimes, like, you can see the plane kind of shifting a little bit, and that's itself, like, taken off again into 8X mode. Because when we're moving, we're going really about a mile. We're going about a mile a second. We're not really missing much anyways. We're over the ocean, so it's not like, you know, it's not like we can really see a whole lot right now. But yeah, we're moving now. We're going down about a mile a second right now. And then when we get to Dutan, then we're going to go up to 38,000 feet at that point. We'll just do level change at that point. And then we'll put ourselves back in cruise mode if we have to. I'm sorry, back in climb mode. Not cruise mode. We're in cruise right now. We got 100 miles to Paddle. I don't mind going outside right now because there's really not anything for it to really worrying about rendering. I mean, it's just ocean. Like, it's not a lot of clouds or anything. If there was a lot of clouds, I wouldn't be going outside right now. But you can really see the mileage clicking down. Look at this. Well, it was ticking down pretty quickly. It'll pick up again here. We'll see it shift like forward and back the airplane, and then all of a sudden the mileage will start going. That noise. Come on, airplane. Yeah. Whoosh. There we go. Now we're starting to move again. Look at that. That's beautiful. And we'll just stay in that mode for a while. Let's go over. And the landing that we're doing tonight, it's going to be an RNAV landing more than likely. We do need to plug in the localizer for Miami. And I want to say it's DHP. want to say that localizer is DHP that we can use. Let me actually look at the localizer chart for Miami. I want to say it's, all right, the localizer for 26 right. Let me see what that chart looks like. Yeah, DHP. That's 113.9. Well, look at that. It's the exact same VOR from when we left. That's crazy. That is the same VOR station from San Pedro. It's the exact same one here in Miami. That is nuts. I've never had that happen before, where a departure and an arrival had the exact same VOR station. 113.9. That is nuts. We will set up our heads-up display for that as well. So watch, when we get to this waypoint, when we get to about a half a mile in front of it, it's going to slow down. When it slows down, I'll take us out of the speed mode so we can do a couple other things. But you watch, it's going to continue to go fast. When we get to about a mile, it'll slow down, which is awesome. Because the base, see, here we go, half a mile. See, now we're going regular speed now. And then once we pass it, we'll start kicking up speed again. But that's not something that that Microsoft simulator does. That's tuned from Pmdg. They did a phenomenal job with the sim rate increase. The regular system, it doesn't slow down for anything. Like when I do the normal 2x or 1x speed increase in the other planes, if I don't turn it off when we go to make a turn, it tries to make a turn at that increase. And that's usually bad news bears, because usually the planes can't handle making a turn that fast. Like, so this plane I like a lot because I can just leave it in this sped up mode and the system just monitors itself. So all right, so I'm actually going to program in the ILS frequency too, just in case. So let me get that chart out as well. And so we're gonna plan on doing the RNAV landing, but just in case, we're gonna have the ILS as a backup. So let me pin that to the charts here as well, and we're gonna program that in as well. So that frequency is 109.1. So let's program 1091. 0, and we'll program that over here as well. 10910. Just in case. As we're descending, we'll set up the heads-up display. We'll program the correct course. All right, we need to start going to 38,000 feet here pretty soon. Once we get the Dutan. We'll stay in this sped up mode until we get to Dutan. That's 272, and so our final course tonight. Our delicious final course is going to be 272. There's Cuba. Look at this blazing. Well, I don't want to go so fast over Cuba that we miss it. Let's turn off the speed increase. I don't want to miss flying over land, especially Cuba. It's not a very big flight flying over Cuba. We got the Grand Cayman Islands back there. Jamaica's over there. We got Cuba right here. Right, yeah. Alright, so we got 17 miles left to Manila and then Dutan. Dutan is where we need to start increasing our height. This is just a little island actually off the coast of Cuba right here. We can increase our speed again. Let's increase it until we get to Dutan, I guess. Because Dutan is right before, like, the main island of Cuba. Rafael Cabrera. So we got 68 miles, and then we're gonna increase our altitude up to 38,000 feet. We can actually turn this to 38,000. We can turn this to 38,000. And we can actually adjust our cruise to 38,000 as well. FL 380. Hit execute. Let's go back to legs. And let's get ready to take ourselves out of this sped up mode, and then we'll go into flight level. Alright, let's go regular speed. And once we get to Dutan, we're going to go level change. And that'll keep us at this speed going up to 38,000 feet. So Dutan should be right when we get to the southern edge of Cuba, right there. Wow, look at all these little islands. I had no idea there were so many little islands off the... Wow, look at all these little... That's crazy. I guess there's people that live on those islands. I would imagine there would be. That is pretty cool. Look at that one, man. Looks like a ring. Like an egg, actually. Alright, so let's go level change. And so it put us in climb mode automatically. Alright, that works. This time the whole rock jug. A yellow ribbon instead of a swastika. Don't probably got your problem, KMIA. So when the set come in, you said it was blue and it was red. That's how you gotta do it. Blast through your head. Blast through your head. Blast through your head. Shout out to the living dead. Steven lost as effects called centralized. Socially on the screen he was mesmerized. Cellular phone sounding of death toll. Patient turning slowly and realize. An omni color. Pack and nine. Fire. Yes, every just drive. Bow, 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 bow. Jump, you say, how high? Jab, 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 jab. Run it. Whack it, whack it, jack it, jack it, whack it, jack it, jack it. Alright, what speed does Sim have us at? It should be 0.77. Let me see. Let's see what SimBrief says. Yeah, they got us at 0.77. Yeah, that looks alright to me. And we got 71 miles to our top of descent. Very good. Okay. And let's see what kind of... So we got ICBIX. Pamper, we need to be at 20... Okay, Roygo is... And then dump. Let's see what it says for Roygo and dump. Alright, yeah, Pamper we programmed in, that's why it's in magenta. Okay, Roygo, that's fine. FIFA is below 12,000. Okay, so we don't have dump, that's okay. And then we have J jump, that's 8,000. And then reeling. You know, and if we want to do a like if we want to create our own waypoint, let's see if we can create our own waypoint right before Zilby, right? Let's say we want to do like 5 miles before Zilby, right? Let me see if I can remember how to do this. So if I remember correctly, we click on Zilby, then we type in the opposite direction, so that would be 256 /5 for 5 miles. And let's click on, I want to say it's right above Zillow. Yeah, Zillow 1. No, okay, let's go back. So we got to click on Zilby again. And let's type in 256 / and then like 5 miles. And then let's click on Zilby again. Now we have Zillow 1. Okay, let's click on Zilby and then click on the blank there. And we should have a brand new waypoint now. So we got Reelin, and then we got C Zilby. And then Zilby. So if you ever want to create your own waypoint, you can certainly do that. I don't really think we need to do that tonight, but we'll leave it in there. Let's see what happens. Because when we go from Reeling to Zilby, we need to be at 5,000 feet, and we don't have that much runway to play with, actually. Oh, the RNP is 0.2 tonight, and a decision height of 359. Yeah, if we go now, let's go over here and let's do steps over here. Let's go legs. And let's go through the steps. Let's see what happens. Let's look at that new Zilby that we created. Hang on. We need to zoom in a little bit. Alright, let's go back to steps. See, there's Reelin. Yep, see, there's Zilby, and then there's the new Zilby. Zilby 01. And then Zilby, so it's pretty cool. Alright, I'm actually going to get rid of that waypoint. I don't really see a reason for it, to be honest. Alright, let's come back here to progress. We have 34 miles until we begin our descent. And we are going to descend down to, initially I want to say 23,000 feet. Let's see what this says here. We'll put in 25, but we need to be at 21 by pamper, so let's plug in 21,000. Actually, we'll plug in 33.5 to start off with. I like doing this in steps. So we're going to do 33.5 at first. And we can actually arm VNAV right now. And once we get to our top of descent, then it'll go ahead and start descending for us. We'll see an we'll see a vertical deviator here, and also here as well. I do want to plug in, well, that's for our approach. We don't need to. We have a required navigation performance of 0.20, but that's only during our approach. That's not for the arrival, so. Bye, Cuba. Key West should be over here. It should be like kind of pulling up on the side of Key West. Where's Ibix at? Icbix. That's coming up. Yeah, Key West, we might not be able to see it because of the clouds, but we'll be kind of passing by it. We're going to fly over Marathon, which is close to Key West. And this plane usually does a pretty good job of managing itself speed-wise and all that on the descent, so I'm not too worried about the performance of the plane. It should do okay. I do want to set up our heads-up display, so let's set that up. So let's come back here. We're going to change the mode. We're going to click that once. This is the mode I like for landing. I think the V stands for visual. I think the I has something to do with ILS, but I'm not 100% sure. But I know this mode is the one I like. So I'm going to click runway. And I'm going to plug in the runway's elevation. It's 9 feet. Then I'm going to plug in its length. It is 10,506 feet. And programming this information in will now place the reticle pretty much right in the middle of the touchdown zone. Plus it cleans up the, changing that mode really cleans up the display a lot as well. It gets rid of a lot of the jumbled up stuff on the side for the speed and the altitude and all that. It gets rid of all that. It just really focuses on the reticle, on the touchdown zone and the runway, and some information that you need to help land the plane. So it really cleans up everything. Alright, we're getting ready to begin our descent. We can hear the engines winding down. There we go. We're on our way down to the ground. Now our course is 272, I believe. Yep. 272 is our final approach course tonight. Now let's put our, oh yeah, let me switch our let's switch GigaChat over here. And let's click on the CTR button once and then twice. And that puts his display now in this kind of wide, this descent angle mode here. I don't know what the name of it is, but all right, let's do 272 here as well. So it shows our descent angle and the waypoint and what altitude it thinks we're going to be at that waypoint. So all right, let's go down to 25,000 now. Since our display just showed us at ICBIX at the correct altitude, so since that showed us that, I'm confident to not really have to touch anything, and let's put it down to 25,000. I do want to switch this over and go to page 4 here, because it says now we're about 59 feet too high, so we may have to plug in a little bit of speed brakes just for a moment if we keep getting too high. If the deviation becomes too high. Alright, so by peaky, doesn't look like we're going to be at 25,000 feet. Let's see what it... Yeah, looks like we're going to be right on line. Now, none of these we have to be at, we don't have to be at that altitude. It's not like it's a constraint. But it is a good reference point. So our system thinks we're going to be somewhere around 25,000 feet by this area here. As we get a little bit closer, we'll move the altitude down a little bit. And we'll keep on moving it down incrementally so we can continue to pay attention to it on our chart here or on the GigaChat side, so we can see it. You can see DHP, the VOR station for Miami, is showing up now. I do want to program a fix in for tonight, so let's go to fix. We're going to do runway 26 left. And I want to set this up for 4 miles and for 10 miles. 4 miles as a reminder for landing gear, just in case we forget by then, and 10 miles for flap 15. So, all right, very good. Our vertical deviation, we're a little high. We're not out of whack though. Alright, so that's looking good. Our next waypoint is starting to come down, as you can see. So I do want to now move our our altimeter down to 21,000. Now this one in real life on the chart, it says over 23,000, but when I was planning this out, it was already at this 21,000 range when I got in the plane, so I just left it. It's a simulator, so it's no big deal if it's off by a little bit. If this was real life, it might be a different story, but this is not real life. And as you can see, our system is calculating that we should be right around 21,000 feet by the time we get close to that waypoint. So we're doing good with our descent so far. Let me look up what the altimeter is in the Miami area right now. We are on visual flight reference, visual flying rules right now. No wind gusts reported that I can see. Scattered clouds to 11,000 feet, broken clouds to 25,000 feet. 2997 is the barometric pressure. And it looks like winds are coming in from 270 and it's at 3 knots, so not bad. All right, let's go down to 14,300. You know, if we don't change this before we know it, we'll hear the beep, and then we're like almost leveling off. So let's move this down to 14,000 feet. Let's also move our altitude here. Let's move that down as we're going down. And I do want to set up our approach as well. So let's come here. Let's go to init. Wind correction at +5 is fine. So let's click on this 137 and set that up. And we are all set up for that now. So let's go back to progress. Go back to page 4 so we can keep an eye on our vertical deviation here. And I do want to program in our decision height tonight. So that is for this RNAV landing we're going to do. It is 359. So let's program that in, or as close as we can get to 359. All right, there we go. We're programmed for 359. And Pamper is fine. Sandbar, we need to be at 14.3. And we're currently on a heading of 12, so let's line that up. And we are a little bit too high, but that's okay. We're only off by about 50 feet. That's not bad at all. Especially going like how many feet we've dropped already. That's pretty good, I think. Yep, there's Marathon, Florida, hidden under those clouds right there. Okay, everything is looking good. Now, I'm very curious if I click on delete here. Sorry, I deactivated the autopilot by accident. I'm sorry about that. I am very curious now that I click delete what altitude it thinks we're going to be at Roygo. Let's see here. That's not bad, 13.5. Okay. So anytime you're flying, if you're curious what altitude you think you're going to be at a certain waypoint, just click the delete button and then click on the right side here for whichever line you want, and it'll delete that altitude like it did there, because before it's at 13,000 to 16,000 and now it has 13.5 there now. So all right, sandbar, get closer. Switch over here momentarily to regular barometric pressure, you know, so we can program in what it really is. At 18,000 feet, that's the transition altitude in the USA. Every country or every segment of airspace has, you know, may have a different transition altitude, Just depends on what part of the world you're in. Alright, so Roygo, let's put in 13.5. Shouldn't be an issue. We're currently at 19,000 feet, so let's change this down a little bit as well. So our altitude stays consistent throughout the trip. This probably should have been changed over a while ago, but you know, I never did. My bad. I still haven't turned on the center tanks just because the center tanks feed the you know, these tanks when need be. So yeah, see, it looks like we're going to be at 13.5 in time for Roygo. And we're going to be switching over standard pressure here momentarily. I guess I can just switch it down here. Click on this button right here. Put ourselves in regular pressure, and it's currently 29.97. So let's change that. And let's click approach mode here. Because on this particular airplane, it shows the ILS needle and localizer and all that. Those displays, like those two icons, show up very quickly down here compared to the rest of the airplane. Like, it always shows up on this little screen way before the other ones. I don't know why, but it's just how it works. Alright, FIFA, let's put in 12,000. Curious what it thinks we're going to be at for FIFA. Let's see here. Let's come down here and click delete. And let's click on FIFA here and see what it thinks we're going to be at. Oh, that's excellent. 10.4. I'll take that. Let's program that in. So 10.4. Now, I'm not at a point yet where I think we need to do a speed intervention where we can start controlling our own speed. I think we're okay right now. You know, it's been descending very good. Like, I've been happy with the rate of descent and our speed and all that. There's no reason to it. Okay, so that's on auto, that's fine, and that's on auto as well, that's good. We can certainly set our speed brake now while we're down here. We're now flying over the southwestern part of Florida. That's okay. Alright, there's a couple of deceleration points right there. These little green circles right here, those are deceleration points. Alright, so after FIFA, Hildy is 94.83. Bring out Hildy! Here in Chickasaw County, I can choose to do with my property whatever I so desire. That was a good scene. If you haven't seen Django Unchained, that part near the end of the movie when he's like, bring out Hildy. That whole scene is awesome. Awesome. Our descent is going pretty dang good, actually. Let's set us up for... Well, shit, let's just put us down to 5,000, because 5,000 is the altitude that we're going to have to be at when we make our turn back to the airport. So let's just put in 5,000 right now. And we'll just let the airplane do its own thing for now. And we're going to be turning to the right here pretty soon when we get to Hildy. So we have FIFA, then Hildy, and then we're going to make a turn to the right. We're going to run parallel to the airport. There's a few miles between us and the airport. We'll be parallel to the airport. We're going to go out to the ocean a little bit, and then hang a big old U-turn at 5,000 feet. We're going to level off at 5,000 feet, make that U-turn, and then do one of two things. Either do an RNAV landing or we'll do an ILS landing. One of them two. Birds land. It's been a pretty fun flight, actually. I like this flight. I have to do another one of these. I think partly being in this airplane makes it fun too, because we can go a lot faster than other airplanes. And I'm very comfortable flying this plane. I've been flying a 737 on the simulator now, maybe 15 years now. I think I started off an X-plane maybe late 2000s, early 2010s. I started doing X-plane, and I was always flying the 737 because it was like one of two planes that were available where you could operate like everything inside the airplane. Almost everything. Certainly a lot more than the rest of the planes. And playing with the FOC and turning the engines on, and APU and the bleed and seatbelt signs. Alright, there's our deceleration. Let's see if we're required to have any drag. Nope. So a lot of times what I do is I'll put us in speed intervention mode so I can put the flaps down. Because a lot of times when I put the flaps down, it tries to put us, like if I was to put the flaps down now, it would move this magenta line all the way down to like 180. But I do want to put some flaps in right now because we do need to get to where we need to get to. So let's put some flaps in. Help us get down to the right speed while we're descending. And usually I'll stay like this until I see the engine starting to kick on. They're starting to kick on. I'll put the air brakes, the speed brakes back to off or armed. Alright, so it looks like it wants us to go right from reeling. Yeah, so we're not going to do that. We're going to... Oh yeah, we're not turning right after reeling. That's crazy, man. So we're going to actually... We have no choice. We have to go into heading mode. Alright, let's go into 96. And let's click heading, select. Let's do VS. We can stay there, and we can stay at 240, so all that's okay. So it looks like we are going to be doing this manually, which is okay. I don't mind doing that. I say manually, but it is like with autopilot and shit like that. So it's not like it's completely manual. All right, let's put on our landing lights. Put our logo light on, and turn our wheel well light on. Let's go ahead and change this to 10,000. And never did put the seatbelts back on, so let's do that. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Here's our airport over there. So we're going to level off at 5,000 feet and just take that out to the ocean. And then we're going to turn, when we're about 16 miles, or about 20 miles out from the VOR station, we're going to start making our turn back towards the airport. So we're okay at this descent, and at this speed, there's no rush to get to 5,000 feet. Going down about 750 miles, and we're at about 6 miles away from the VOR station, so we got another 14 miles to go, so we'll stay at this speed. Oh, we got a fuel imbalance. Alright, well, let's cross feed. See if that fixes it a little bit. Is it raining out? It sure is. Might need to do the ILS landing actually with this kind of weather. About another 8 or 9 miles until we turn. Oh yeah, I do need to change the RNP to 0.2. So let's put this in 0.2. And that changes now the RNP to 0.2. RNP is the required navigation performance. Alright, very good. We're back to everything being nice and sunny. Let's actually change our speed to about 225. There's Zilby. We can see that down there. That's our initial fix. That's our initial air fix right there. And we're at about 18 miles, so well, we're actually a little farther out than I thought. Zilby is showing here at 16.1 miles out. I wonder why it's... Of course, this could be an old chart compared to what's out there nowadays, or this could be a new chart compared to what the old one. because we're not on the same AirX system because Microsoft hasn't updated their stuff yet, so we're still at an old AirX system. All right, the barometer node is 29.99 right now. Oops, wrong button. All right, and when we get a little bit past Zilby, we'll start making our turn back. All right, we can probably start making our turn now. So what I want to do is I'm going to click on BOR localizer, and I'm going to start making this turn. I do want to slow down to 210. And I do want to put the fuel is okay. It's either from the center tank or the imbalance, but it's okay. All right, let's put down first set of slats and the first set of flaps. Let's continue to turn. Let's actually go flaps 5. Actually, no, we'll leave it there for now. Let's continue to turn. Let's turn this down to 200. And let's zoom in a little bit. Let's stay right here. All right, localizer is active. And I don't know if clicking approach yet is going to do anything. I think we're a little too far out. Let me see. Oh, no, it did. Okay, very good. So I clicked on approach, and you can see down here now it says FAC for final approach course and GP for glide path. It's essentially almost the exact same deal as a glide scope and an ILS landing. It's just around 100, 200 feet. The autopilot kicks off, and we have to land ourselves, which is fine. Let's bring this up. What is our 137? And we're pretty good until we get to until that island there, so. Once we get past that island, this little island deal here, then we'll drop down to 137 and put our gear down and all that. Till then, we're okay. That fuel imbalance might be a fault, or you know, I do have failures turned on, so I wonder if there's something wrong with you know, the fuel system. Why I love flying into a major city and having the photogrammetry turned on. Plus, I have all the world scenery downloaded again. I figured out what the issue was, and it turns out I don't think it was the world scenery. Turns out it was a livery pack for a plane that I never fly. And that livery pack is pretty much causing all the problems. Alright, let's put our gear down. Slow down to 45. And let's put some more flaps down. Flaps 30. Flaps 35 actually. Then we can go flaps 4. American Airlines Arena, yeah, that's where the Heat play. I don't know if the ice hockey team, the Panthers, play there too. That's the Florida Panthers, that's not Miami. That's definitely where the Heat play. Yeah, that's dope, it's right on the water. I had no idea it was right on the water like that. That's pretty cool. Looks like you can ride your boat right up to the arena. That's pretty dope. Man, that is the way to go to a basketball game, man. If you're a basketball player or if you're just somebody going to the game, that's the way to go, man. Ride up on your boat. What a life. Something I'll never experience, but that's awesome. Wind is really pushing this plane around a little bit. Look how much the yoke is cocked just to try to keep us lined up with landing. All right, so we're at 1,000. I guess I could take this off and
Traffic.
boy, it is kind of difficult to land this plane, man. I wish I would have gotten lined up better with the heads-up display before I clicked off everything. But I'm doing... Oh, man, I am way off. Whoa, bitch. Let's go.
Sink rate. Sink rate.
30, 20, 10.
Well, I've definitely had better landings, that's for sure. But we're on the ground and I'll take it. Especially with how windy it was. Yeah, I wish I would have been able, next time I do this, I gotta make sure I'm like at a good point for the heads up display before I click off, because that was like, I was like sideways and it was kind of throwing me off. But hey man, we did it. Yeah boy, up in Miami. We getting ready to tear up the town in Miami, that's for sure. So I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to the latest episode of the Airplane Show. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with this flight. I'm glad we were able to do it. And I will be back. Sorry, I'm turning off my. Sorry, I was turning off the tablet because I don't need a Navigraph up anymore. So I will be back tomorrow for sure with a new episode of the Airplane Show. Please subscribe. Please click the like button before you depart this airplane and watch anything that you're going to watch next, or do whatever you're going to do. Please have fun doing it. Come back and see me tomorrow. Please subscribe. Please click the thumbs up. And I will see y'all again on the Airplane Show tomorrow, my friends. And I guess that's that, right? There's nothing else to do. Except I guess I'm going to go eat dinner since I haven't eaten dinner yet. But be good to each other. This is Greg, your internet pilot.